KC24 brings you a lifestyle show from people you know with Emily Irwin. Now, Central Valley Today.
Well, Alzheimer's disease is often referred to as the long goodbye. It takes a toll on those dealing with it and their families and loved ones. And California is home to more seniors with Alzheimer's than any other states, which is why the California Department of Public Health has launched the first ever statewide Alzheimer's campaign, Take on Alzheimer's. So here now to help us take on Alzheimer's is public health official Dr. Abascal. So thank you so much for being here. We'll jump right in here with the signs and symptoms and the risk factors for Alzheimer's. What are they?
Yeah, so let's start with the signs and symptoms. So traditionally, Alzheimer's is thought of a disease that affects older people, and it is, but it can present also in younger individuals. The most common signs are memory loss that is progressive and gets worse. So it's not like, oh, 1 week I forgot my keys, oh, I might have something. No, we're looking at somebody that progressively forgets things. But it's important to know that's not only the signs and symptoms. There could be other things, for example, changes in their personality, someone suddenly becoming more isolated, your loved one is being more by themselves. Also, memory loss can also be shown as forgetting to do regular things, for example, brushing your teeth. So really, there's a widespread way in which this can present. And then in terms of risk factors, we know that age is the biggest risk factor, but there's also other risk factors, for example, having family members that have Alzheimer's disease, having other diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, and not having a good management of them. So there's multiple things that can increase our risk for Alzheimer's disease.
I think what you said there, the progression of these symptoms is really important. I saw it in my grandma. You know, it started when I was really young and it lasted all the way until high school. So what's the best way? We know the signs, we know the risk factors. If we see these signs, what is the best way to start this conversation, especially if we have older family members? It can be a touchy subject.
It is. And I think progression, going back to what you're mentioning, is key in this. As it progresses, it gets worse. So trying to act in the beginning where the symptoms are not as bad really empowers the family and the person suffering from Alzheimer's disease to plan for the future. Plus, it's the best window to start medical treatment. If we identify any signs, symptoms, or worried that us or our loved one might have Alzheimer's disease, the first step is to seek medical care. There are tools to screen for Alzheimer's disease, and there are specialists that can make a diagnosis. So talking to your healthcare provider should be the first step, and also starting this conversation with family members. Many times we think that our loved one is simply getting older. We think of like, oh, they're losing their mind. There are things like a lot of stigma around, like they're crazy, we might be ashamed. But this is an actual disease, and getting help is key.
And you sort of touched on it there, you know, the benefits of actually getting the diagnosis. I know a lot of times people will avoid going to the doctor because they don't want to know. But why should we seek out a diagnosis?
Yeah, so getting an Alzheimer's disease diagnosis first opens up to early treatment and things that can improve our mental health, our brain health, for example, being more active, increasing social connections. So things that make us more aware of what we have to do. But there's another side, such as social services and legal aspects that we can prepare for. For example, if that person does not have a deed, that person has to think about potential future options for long-term care. So there's a lot of things that go hand in hand in knowing, planning, and starting to treat early.
Planning is so important. We talk about that a lot on this show. You don't want to wait until you're in crisis to seek out help. So getting an early diagnosis is important for your future plans. How can we prevent Alzheimer's? What can we do with our behavior and our lifestyle to sort of stave off Alzheimer's?
Yeah, well, it's going to sound like everything else, but there's a very big correlation with staying active and eating healthy. So the healthier our body is, the healthier our brain is. So staying active, not only physically with regular exercise, which can include like walking, but also other types of exercise, but also exercising our brain. So for example, puzzles, sudoku, learning new things, learning new languages, reading, those things are important. They actually increase the blood flow to our brain and can help prevent Alzheimer's and also prevent the progression of Alzheimer's. So if somebody has Alzheimer's, they could also benefit from these strategies. Also super, super important. Our brain depends on the blood flow that comes to it. So having your blood vessels, the transportation of our blood healthy is key to make sure that all the healthy blood gets to your brain. So being careful with diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, and other diseases that can put at risk how our blood flows to our brain is also going to be very important.
Okay, that's all great information. Where can we go for more information on this campaign, Take on Alzheimer's?
Yeah, so the first thing I would recommend if you're worried about Alzheimer's for you or your family member would be to talk to a clinician. But also, the California Department of Public Health has put on a resource to learn more, and it's a website, takeonalz.com, to understand ways you can help reduce your risk and take charge of your brain health before and after an Alzheimer's disease diagnosis.
Okay, great information today. Doctor, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
And stay with us. We're ending the show by trying this late night snack that could improve your overall health. We'll be right back.